Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Robbie Rhino, and in today's video I'll be showing you my ram and mobility build for the E50M Tier 10 German medium tank. And in my opinion there is no better medium tank at Tier 10 for this highly mobile, ramming, well armoured playstyle than the E50M. It's a 62 ton medium tank. It's well armoured, it's got a laser accurate gun, and you can get this mobility up to above 70 kilometers an hour when you have the right commander and equipment set up. So what setup do I use? I run gun stabilizer because I want to keep the laser accurate gun that the E50M has, and I run both of the mobility equipments, which is the traction system and advanced powertrain. In terms of my commander, I run 6th Sense, Born Leader, Rapid Loading, Steady Aim, Rapid Aim, Snapshot, Controlled Impact, Clutch Braking and Situational Awareness. I'm still trying to keep as much view range as possible. I have the gun handling skills because I want to be accurate at mid to long ranges, and Controlled Impact means that I take 20% less ramming damage and give out 20% more ramming damage, and the clutch braking improves my traverse. Unfortunately, with that setup I still only have 444 meters view range, but it does mean that, you know, I've invested it all into the mobility, and that's the main focus, and the capabilities of ramming in this tank are really good. You'll see one good ram in this and an even better one in the second replay. I wanted to highlight how good the mobility is in general for such a well armoured medium tank, and something that, you know, is 62 tons. It's incredible that you can get that kind of speed out of this thing, and the rams that you can pull off in this tank are amazing. I'm going to try and compile a sort of montage, and maybe I'll have some funky cheesy 80s music to go alongside that and put it into a video, so watch out for that one in the future. So in terms of that setup and how it affects the gun performance, well, this 105mm is still laser accurate at 0.21 accuracy. My aim time is now 2 seconds, and I have a DPM of 2765. The shell velocity is fantastic, and one thing that I have to mention in terms of the E50M is 1500 meters a second on the APCR, 1200 on the heat, and HE, meaning that you don't have to give much lead at all at mid to long ranges, and with that accuracy it means that you can hit weak points with ease. In terms of its armour, the turret is 230 on the front, 120mm on the sides and 60 on the rear, and if you use the 8 degrees of gun depression that the E50M has, your cheeks are about 280mm of effective armour, and the sides will be an auto ricochet from the front. In terms of the hull, if you're using the 8 degrees of gun depression, it's about 350 to 360mm of effective armour. So, you know, bear in mind you're not a heavy tank, you're a medium tank, and you can pull off some incredible bounces. You can't rely on it against, you know, most things that fire premium, especially tank destroyers, but, you know, any kind of bounce that you can get at tier 10 in World War II is fantastic. And now we get on to the big part of the video in terms of the mobility and how my setup improves my mobility. So the horsepower of the engine was already fantastic at 1200, but now it's 1260. My power to weight was 19.26 and now it's 20.22. I can now go 72 kilometers an hour forwards, 24 kilometers an hour backwards. I can turn my hull at 52 degrees a second and my turret at 34 degrees a second, and, you know, you're 62 tons, that's absolutely insane, meaning that if you're going in for a ram, you can turn on a whim and sort of angle your tank around and try and get the thickest part, you know, going directly into your opponent and deal as much ramming damage as you can. And you can deal some substantial ramming damage to heavy tanks. Bear in mind you'll take quite a bit, but it's still quite good if you preserve your hit points and go in for a ram later on, which you'll see in this replay. So on Fisherman's Bay in this first replay, unfortunately you haven't seen any rams yet. You've seen me take up a position on the F line just using what little view range I have left, and now we've spotted our chance to go in for a ram. It's against an Object 279E, and we'll see what we can do to this tank. So we managed to do about 350, 360 ramming damage to a heavy tank there with a medium tank, and we've still got 446 hit points left to play with, and we're going to try and go forwards and see what else we can do. But you know, those kind of rams, even if you're doing 1 or 2 per game, just show you what you can do when you boost your mobility up. You can go in and you're technically increasing your DPM, aren't you? You're firing a little slower throughout the game, but when you have the opportunity, you can go in, and it's an extremely fun way to play. Don't be too reckless, because you still will get taken out. It is tier 10. Those 2050 hit points won't go as far as you think maybe when you first get to tier 10, but if you pick and choose your opponents carefully, you can get some really cool rams. And as you can see, I run the fuel consumable, meaning that I have a passive and active boost. Unfortunately, that's the end of the first replay, but we'll go on into the second replay in just a second, and you'll see the best ram that I had in my session the other day. So in that one, we pick up the high caliber medal with 5.6k direct damage and 2 kills. Lost a little bit of silver, but I'm just playing this more for fun, so we'll head on over to the second replay and I'll talk you through that one. So we're now into the second replay of the video, and we're here on El Haluf, and I was happy to get into this map in this tank because you do have some nice steep slopes where you're able to pick up some speed, and I was hoping to find a unsuspecting, hopefully lightly armoured tank to go and ram. Unfortunately, we do get one a little later on, but you'll just see in the effect that the mobility equipment and the fuel consumable and the commander skills have now. We're able to race into position and get there before anyone else. Unfortunately, our view range isn't as good as, you know, it would be if you played a sort of more typical medium tank setup, so we might have been able to spot more there. But we've raced into a position, meaning that we have this sort of prime location here on El Haluf in this little brawling zone in sort of B3 area, B2 area, and 8 degrees of gun depression is just about enough to sort of make this position work in quite a few areas. And there's a slope down here, and if people come down into this area and you're using this ram build and they go down there, you can just jump down on top of them, and with your 62 ton weight you can do some substantial damage. So we've now gone into this dip. We're going to go into the gun line and see what we can spot. Above us there is this Ragnarok here, and nothing else has been spotted yet, and it's always very tempting when you're playing a ram build or a sort of build to play for fun just to go in now and ram, but chances are I'll just get absolutely destroyed by the TDs at the back, and it won't be very fun in the end, so I'm deciding to try and be patient. So we auto aimed at the front of that projected 65. That was a bad choice because that thing has some troll armour, and APCR doesn't like that really well angled armour. We get a little bit of assistance though, so I can't complain. I think that was on the Ragnarok. So we're just going to try and be patient here, bide our time, and that's the way that I try and play this build. There's no point going straight in for a ram straight away unless the opportunity presents itself. You don't want to overextend. And that's the way that I balance the fun aspect of this play style with the with the sort of more sensible sort of sniping capabilities and sort of side scraping capabilities of the armour that the E50M has. So now we're just getting shots where we can into the middle there. We just did track damage with the first shot on that. I think this is the M48 120mm, I think, possibly, but we do manage to penetrate the second round there. And I'm just basically waiting to try and see where the enemy team have gone, because usually by now you get a little bit more of an idea where the enemy team are, and it looks like a lot of them are still camping at the back, which was a kind of theme that's gone on, especially during this play style. But we're just going to carry on sniping, and you'll see even with the commander skills and the equipment setup focused on the mobility, that the gun handling is still absolutely fantastic. And that's one thing that's amazing about the E50M, is the accuracy and the shell velocity and its sniping capabilities, as well as being able to ricochet tanks when you need to. So now we're going to come up against this mouse and we're going to try and help out a heavy tank. I'm going to pop over here, get a shot into the side damage the mouse's Armour, which he fixes, and I was surprised that I didn't switch to heat here just to guarantee penetrations on this mouse, but we're going to try and get another shot, wait for the mouse to turn his turret so that it's the flattest part towards us, and now I switch to heat to make sure that I'm able to penetrate the mouse should he come over and try and forcefully engage me. We still have quite a few heavy tanks with me, so I'm not really panicking at the moment about anything. Just going to keep these tanks lit up here, hoping that our teammates and our artillery fire some shots in. And just so happens that the artillery obliger is going to pop up, use the 8 degrees gun depression and get a shot into the side of the object 432, which is a tank that I have nearly researched, so that will be coming up on the channel soon. Get a nice shot into the lower plate of the mouse, and his 3000 hit points haven't lasted too long there, and we're still playing this one as safe as possible. The Leopard prototype gets a shot into us. Unfortunately we miss our return fire, and now I'm side scraping, hoping that the Leopard bounces off of us. Just giving him as little of a target as possible. We repair our fuel tank because I don't run a fire extinguisher if I get hit in the same place. I don't want to burn to death because I want to have a fun ram in this game, at least one. And I'm sorry that I can't give you more than, you know, one ram of video in this setup at the moment, but I just wanted to put this out there and show you what kind of mobility you can get with the E50M, and I kind of fell back in love with the E50M after playing it for a session the other night. So now we're going to fire right into the back of the Type 5 where the engine is, set him on fire and he burns to death. And that Grill 15 I've noticed is, you know, a nice juicy target, and I was hoping that I would have the opportunity to go and ram him, so we'll have to see if that comes to fruition in just a second. Just going to peek over now and see if we can get a shot into the centre here. I think it's that Leopard prototype that has pushed up. I didn't realise that I'm still firing heat, there's absolutely no need, but you have that fantastic shell velocity even with the heat rounds. That Grill 15 has come out again, and I'm just thinking, is he going to come in front of me? Do I have a chance to come and ram him? And unfortunately he does take a shot, but you know, I spotted my chance to go now. I've activated my fuel consumable and I'm going in for the ram. Target acquired, and yeah, with ease, 743 damage. Who needs a 105 when you can go above 70 kilometers an hour and just ram the side of a tier 10 tank destroyer and finish him off? So I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. And like I said in the previous replay, just one or two rams like that per sort of game with 2 to 3k damage, and you're pushing your damage total up into a very respectable game for a tier 10 medium tank. And now we're going to use our ability to push forward, try and light up the last remaining tank destroyers and the artillery and see what we can get out of this game. So we're going to go forward here, we're going to try and line up with this rock so if they spot us all they have is our turret. We are spotted and being targeted, but no fear, I'm just going to go in, and that's the armour working there. And this SU-130 PM looks like a very juicy target for me to go and ram. Unfortunately he is going in behind the buildings, but we're going to see what we can do. Unfortunately we've slowed up on this slow terrain a little bit, but we're going to see what we can do. Go in sort of 50 kilometers an hour or just shy, going in just shy, and we do bump him for a nice amount of damage there. And it would have been a lot better if we were just going 10 kilometers an hour more, but there we go, just another little nudge and we managed to take out that SU-130 PM there. And that's the thing, just keep nudging those lightly armoured tanks and you'll do little bits of damage, and you can keep them tracked. That wasn't very nice from the artillery, just punishing me for my sins of actually having fun in this game, but no matter, it looks like this game is all but sewn up, and we're on just shy of 6k damage, just shy of a k assistance, and we've blocked 1560 damage, just showing you that this is very good sort of all-round tank. It's got great mobility, very decent armour for a medium tank, a fantastic gun. The DPM isn't awful even if you have this mobility set up. We get a shot in on the move into the Conqueror gun carriage. I was going to go in for my third ram of the game there onto the Conqueror to finish him off, but unfortunately we don't manage that. and I was hoping that this tank destroyer will be down here where this medium tank is going, and I can use my mobility on this slope to try and get a shot in. It looks like the tank destroyer has gone either down the cliff here and he's hiding like some people like to do because they're trolls, and I don't know why you'd want to do that, but hey ho. But it looks like this tank destroyer has moved a little bit further away, so I'm going to skip ahead to when we find the tank destroyer and see what result that we get out of this game, so I'll see you there in just a second. So the tank destroyer got spotted on this hill. Unfortunately, we did manage to use our mobility to get there, but the Leopard 1 did manage to beat us by going around the other way as they were closer. But nonetheless, that's still a very decent game in this E50M with a nice ram to boot. So that's 4 kills, 6.3k direct damage. We get the high caliber first class mastery badge, 986 assistance and 1460 experience points. So I hope you enjoyed my mobility setup. I'll try and get some more rams out there for all you ram fans in the future. I hope that you give this one a go. It's extremely fun, and I find that it's a really nice tactic to play in this tank, and it makes the slightly lower DPM worthwhile when you're able to ram things for a substantial amount of damage. So thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you on the battlefield, and bye for now.